Okay, boys and girls, we're going to continue with Serena, just to let you know the phone rang. The lake finally grew calm and the storm was over. Serena stirred and woke. She was still exhausted and very mussy. Louis stayed away from her. I'll just wait, he thought. One in love, one must wait and be patient. I won't worry. Back home on Upper Red Rock Lake, I was without a voice. She ignored me because I could not tell her of my love. Now, thanks to my brave father, I have an trumpet, and through the power of music, I'm going to impress her, and she is going to fall in love with me. Usually, if a strange bird appeared on Bird Lake, one of the keepers would report its arrival to the headman in charge of birds, whose office was in the birdhouse. The headman would then give the order to have the new bird pinioned, have one of its wings clipped. But today, the keeper who usually tended the waterfowl was sick and had not come to work, and nobody noticed that a new trumpeter swan had arrived. Serena was being very quiet anyway. She was not attracting any attention. There were now 5 trumpeter swans on the lake. Toward the end of the afternoon, Serena roused, looking at her surroundings, had a bite to eat, took a little bath and a little drink, and then she went ashore to clean her feathers. Louis trembled when he saw her at first. He was again tempted to swim over and say something to her, but he had a better idea. There is no hurry, he thought. She's not going to leave Philadelphia tonight. I will go to my job, and when I get back from work, I shall abide near her all through the night. Just at daylight, I'll awaken her with a beautiful, beautiful song. She will not be able to resist. I will be the first thing she sees when she opens her eyes, and she will fall in love with me. Louis was definitely satisfied with his plan. He finally decided to play Beautiful Dreamer, Wake On To Me, when he was going to awaken Serena. She will be a beautiful dreamer, thought Louis, and she will wake on to me. The song fits the situation perfectly. He was determined to play the song better than he had ever played it before. It was one of his best numbers. He really knew how to play it awfully well. Once when he played it at one of his Sunday concerts, a music critic from a Philadelphia newspaper heard him, and next morning the paper said, "Some of his notes are like the jewels held up to the light. The emotion he transmits is clean and pure and sustained." Louis had memorized that statement. He was proud of it. Now he was anxious for morning to come, but he still had to go to his night job. Louis swam ashore to pick up his things, and when he looked under the bush, he received a terrible jolt. His medal was there, his slate was there, his chalk pencil were there, his money bag was there. But where was his trumpet? His trumpet was gone. Poor Louis! His heart almost stopped. "Oh no," he said to himself. "Oh no!" Without his trumpet, his whole life would be ruined. All his plans for the future would collapse. He was frantic with anger and fear and dismay. He dashed back into the water and looked up and down the lake. Far off, he saw a small wood duck that seemed to have something shiny in its mouth. It was the trumpet, all right. The duck was trying to play it. Louis was furious. He skimmed down the lake, going even faster than he had on the day he had saved Applegate from drowning. He swam straight for the duck, knocked him on his head with a swift blow of his huge wing, and grabbed that trumpet. The duck fainted. Louis wiped the horn, blew the spit out of it, and hung it around his neck, and was on his way. Wow, this is really going to be amazing. Louis got home from work at 2 a.m. He flew in over the low fence and splashed down near Serena, making as little noise as possible. He did not try to sleep. The night was fair and crisp, as nights often are, especially during Christmas. Clouds drifted across the sky in endless procession, partially hiding the stars. Louis watched the clouds, watched Serena as she slept, and waited for daybreak. At last, a faint light showed in the east, and soon creatures began to stir with the morning. "This is my moment," thought Louis. "This time has come for me to awaken my true love." He placed himself directly in front of Serena, then he raised the trumpet to his mouth. He tilted his head. The horn pointed slightly upward toward the sky, where the first light was showing, and he began to play his song, Beautiful Dreamer. Each note was like a jewel held to the light. The sound of Louis's trumpet had never been heard at this early dawn hour in the zoo, and the sound seemed to fill the whole world of his buildings and animals and trees and shrubs and paths and dens and cages. Sleepy bears dozing in their grotto pricked up their ears. Foxes hiding in their dens listened to the sweet and dreamy sound of the horn. In the lion house, the great cats heard, and in the monkey house, the old baboon listened in wonder to the song. Beautiful dreamer, awaken unto me. The hippo heard, the seal in the tank heard, the gray wolf heard, the yak in the cage, the badger, the coon, the ring-tailed coyote, the skunk, the weasel, the otter, the llama, and the dromedary. The white-tailed deer all heard, listened, pricked up their ears at the song. The kudu heard, and the rabbit. The beaver heard, and the snake who has no ears. The wallaby, the possum, the anteater, the armadillo, the peafowl, the pigeon, and the bowerbird, the cockatoo, the flamingo, they all heard. Philadelphians, waking from sleep in bedrooms where their windows were open, heard the trumpet. Not one person who heard the song realized that this was the moment of triumph for Lewis, because this was his call of love. Lewis was not thinking about his large, unseen audience of animals and people, although they were there. His mind was not on bears and buffaloes. His mind was on Serena, the swan of his choice, the beautiful dreamer. He played for her and for her alone. At the first note from his trumpet, she woke. She raised her head and her neck straightened until she held it high. When she was filled with astonishment, she gazed straight at Lewis. At first, she could hardly remember where she was. Directly in front of her, she saw a handsome young male swan, cob of noble proportions. Held against his mouth was a strange instrument, something she had never seen before. And from this strange instrument came sounds that made her tremble with joy and with love. As the song went on, and as the light grew stronger, she fell hopelessly in love with Lewis. The dreams of night were gone. New dreams of day were upon her. She knew that she was full of sensations she had never had before, feelings of delight, feelings of love. She had never seen a finer-looking young cob. She had certainly never seen any swan with so many personal possessions around his neck, and she had never been so thrilled by the sound that he played. The song ended. Lewis lowered his trumpet and bowed solemnly to Serena. Then he raised his horn again, and he said, "Cuckoo!" And guess what Serena did? She replied back to him, "Cuckoo!" And it was a beautiful moment. Each felt drawn to the other by a mysterious bond of affection. Lewis swam once rapidly around Serena, then Serena swam around him. Lewis dipped his neck and pumped his back, and Serena did the same thing. Then they started to splash each other with water. Then Lewis decided to show off. "I'll play her my own composition," he thought, "the one I made up for her last summer at camp." And again he raised his trumpet, and he played. The notes were clear and pure, and they filled the zoo with beauty. Lewis knew that his plan had succeeded. His beautiful dreamer had waked, and she waked unto him. They were in love. Lewis had been told once by his father what happened to deep-sea divers when they go far, far down into the ocean. At great depths, where the pressure is great and the watery world is strange and mysterious, divers sometimes call that experience rapture of the deep. They feel so completely peaceful and enchanted, they never want to return to the surface. Lewis's father had warned him about this. "Always remember when you dive deep," he said, "that this feeling of rapture can lead you to danger. No matter how wonderful you feel, don't ever forget to return to the surface where you can breathe again." Looking at Serena, Lewis thought to himself, "I think love is like rapture of the deep. I feel so good, I just want to stay right here where I am. I'm experiencing so much love from deep down inside." If love is like this on a cold day in December in the Philadelphia Zoo, can you imagine what it is going to be in the springtime on a remote lake in Canada? Cautiously, Lewis placed his head across Serena's long, beautiful white neck. It seemed a very daring thing to do, but she seemed to like it. Then he backed away. Serena swam toward him. Cautiously, she placed her head across his neck and rested it there for a few minutes, too. What a daring thing, she thought, but it seems the right thing to do. I am in love. Her eyes then began to take a look at the trumpet, the slate, the chalk pencil, and the money bag. and the life-saving medal. What an amazing cob, she thought. What a pretty dressed-up fellow. They swam off together to the other end of the lake where they could be alone. Then Lewis, who was short on sleep, dozed off while Serena ate her breakfast and fixed herself up. So his plan definitely worked, and they are in love with each other. The next chapter is called Freedom. So you are going to find out that Lewis is going to again save someone in his life that needs to be saved. And that is going to be the next chapter, boys and girls. I hope you have been listening to all the chapters I have been posting. And I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.